Drive a truck to a place, and when you get there, it's another place. Everybody drive a truck. Everybody drive a truck to a place.
It's trucks.
It's trucks.
This is trucks.
It is trucks.
We've got in the cabin this time. I think this is worth bringing up. Can you guess what's... Oh my god, not another one of these with the two trailers. Well, guess what's in all of this? It's yogurt.
It's 40,000 pounds of yogurt and
just stuffed with yogurt.
That's a lot of yogurt. You're going to need an extended cab and a couple of trailers to fit all that yogurt in.
They should have sent a fleet.
I'm surprised that there isn't yogurt inside the cab with you, honestly.
That'd be
when
so
we talk
great.
about those quantities of yogurt.
If you're taking all this yogurt, do you get to live on yogurt for the duration of the trip for free?
It's full of beneficial microbes, which are going to help offset the effects of truck food. So yeah. I hope so. I hope you get to get high on your own supply as a trucker. Siphon off some yogurt, which is not in containers. It's just loose back there. These should be yogurt tankers rather than yogurt box trucks.
So guys.
So yeah, it's a no, you go.
It's nothing.
Right. It's almost June as we're recording this. It's June 1st tomorrow, and June 1st is my first day in a new apartment. I'm about to move.
How is the place? How's it look?
It's a nice place. It's the separate top floor, somebody's granny apartment from way back. I know the people downstairs. They're friends of friends. Actually, an SF author of some renown who routinely gets a tremendous amount of hate from the the Gamergates of SF, and so I'm not actually going to mention what her name is. And it's a nice little apartment. It's a little short for me. I'm a tall person, but it's pretty big, and I'm going to be living in it by myself. And this is the first time that I've lived anywhere by myself in many, many years.
That's pretty sweet.
It will be odd to be sort of gather up my own kitchen supplies and all of this stuff and make a go of living as a independent human being for a little bit. So it's a big time of transition. The projects that I came to Portland to do are all done. My ankle is almost all the way healed. And having successfully found a place for myself to live in Portland, I am like, now what do I do?
Yeah.
I didn't really intend to settle out here. But I think that I need a moment or two to get my bearings before I figure out what to do next. So at least a 6-month tour of duty in this nice little apartment.
Sounds worth doing.
Yeah. And then I can take my yogurt and go where the wind takes me. But it's all very exciting. I was feeling deeply depressed last night, and then I went and listened to some music.
Nice.
And I felt better.
Nice. That's the healing stuff.
Drank a bunch of weed.
That's Portland, baby.
Yeah. You should come out here so that you can partake in the legal weed. And
how much do they charge for it? Is it more expensive to buy legal weed or less expensive?
I don't know how much illegal weed costs. I've never bought any illegal weed.
Yeah, I know that the amount I usually... Oh no, never mind.
I saw advertisements for $3 to $5 an ounce.
$3 to $5 an ounce. That might work out. I know that they sell weeds in amounts known as things like eighths, but I don't know what it's an eighth of. I know that an eighth usually runs about 40 is the standard.
Well, I mean, an eighth of a pound would be 4 ounces. No, that's a quarter of a pound. I don't know what it's probably metric.
Yeah.
Probably fucking metric. I have no idea. Regardless, the cheap legal availability of weed that I don't have to smoke and can ingest in other ways is making me enjoy the textures of fabric more and helping me sleep.
That's good.
And so that's a net plus. But we shouldn't
we shouldn't linger on this, probably, or that's not even what you were saying. What are
not
you
even
saying?
a little bit. we shouldn't discount the salutary effect of the art. I was listening to Naughty Doggy's Bad Time Trapcore Hell for Girls by Forlong, and that sort of helped me clear the cobwebs. And it occurred to me that it's one of a series of like silly albums that over the years I've used to give myself a good kick in the pants. Like, and none of them are good, you know. Like, I should preface that all of them are great, but none of them are tasteful. Tasteful doesn't cut it. Tasteful isn't enough to kick you out of the mood. You need something that grabs you by your limbic system.
That's true.
And enacts a chemical change in your body. And you know, art will do that. You were just recently at a whole bunch of museums, and it gave you the art quiz in the appropriate fashion.
We embraced the art quiz in a big way. Just
leaned into
ourselves, dreamed in paintings for a night or two.
Yeah. Oh my God. I had the unfortunate combination of factors was that yesterday I also played like a whole lot of TF2 for the first time in years.
Oh man.
And so while I was trying to get to sleep, I was having a kind of unpleasant weed assisted TF2 stimuli loop going on. But yeah, no, like the inside of my head has not been a super great place to be for a variety of reasons lately, and so I've been interested in various ways to move the needle on that. You got your stimulants, you got your hallucinogens, you got your depressants.
I mean, probably more potent than all of those is going to be living in a different place.
Well, you know, you don't want to exaggerate the potency of that, because wherever you go, there you are.
That is true.
In your own body.
At the very least, you'll be in some very different rhythms for a while as you move and get settled in the new place and stuff.
You have to appreciate these shocks to your routine.
Yeah.
Because they give you potential for your organizing.
Yes.
But like, I think that in all this, it's important to recognize that art is a thing that can have a potent effect on your brain.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not. I don't think it works the way that people who think that violent video games make you kill people think it works. I'm not sure it even works in the it certainly partially works in the you would internalize the cultural norms from the art that you consume, and then you replay those or you question those or what have you. That certainly does happen. And that's why it's important to make good art and to be responsible for your audience when you're an artist.
A lot of the pattern is trying to figure out which medicine is going to hit the spot the best, not being able to figure out what it is, going with none of them, and that's it. That's the art experience.
Yeah, that's why I want to talk about stuff that's, I can hear an echo of myself out of your headphones, I think.
Really? That's crazy because I'm wearing earbuds.
Or in the thingy. Oh, it stopped.
I can hear myself in your microphone sometimes. Why are we going into this now?
Because it was making it actively harder for me to put the sentence together.
We'll have to figure out what's causing it.
It's just a little truck interlude right there. I apologize. Back on topic. I wanted to focus in on that exact thing when you want art to have an effect on your brain, because I've been into trying actively to change my thought patterns, and you want stuff that can do the jackhammer to you, and that is not necessarily just music, although I think music is one of the best ways to do that. But coming across stuff with unexpected subject matter, or like that. I mean, that's what the whole trigger warning thing is about, right? If you're triggered by art, it causes you. The reason you want to avoid that is because of the physical reaction it causes, not the mental reaction it causes. It changes your brain chemistry. And to your point, you can't reliably medicate yourself with art, because the effect that the art has changes with repetition,
Right.
and your reception changes over time.
Or if it's a new piece of art, you can't predict the effect, obviously.
You just sort of like throw it out there and see what happens. Like, I need it to be shifted. I'm going to go experience some really visceral art, but you can't even predict what's going to be visceral. You
Right.
can do some best guessing. Like, you can be like, live music is likely to be more visceral, but it's also sometimes incredibly boring.
Yeah.
You know?
Man, speaking of, I went to see One-A-Trix Point Never perform his new album, and that was that was an experience, not the right
You
kind.
made some fun of that experience.
It was very good to go see it. I'm not trying to be too dismissive, but boy howdy, that thing's reach exceeded its grasp a little bit.
Yeah, there's really, I mean, I guess that's part of why we get so mad at bad art, is because
I've dedicated
we
my...
know what the upside could potentially be, you know? Like, you could go out and have your mind blown and like,
I set time aside for this. I set money aside for this. I wanted to feel something.
Exactly. It's like, it's the
I don't feel
it's the
particularly
frustration
mad
of
at
the
it.
addict knowing that you have low quality shit that's been cut with something.
For the record, it didn't make me mad that it wasn't awesome. Just, you know, it was that kind of...
It's just that much more of a letdown to know that given the people involved, that you had a reasonable right to expect it to be awesome.
Right. It's hard to shake. Like, the
Particularly
higher
because it
functioning part
also
of my...
sort of reveals him as a boob, which then retroactively makes his other stuff harder to appreciate.
I've always known he was a boob, but he's a boob with some specific talents. But yeah, like... fuck, what was I about to say? Never mind.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that it's worth chasing.
Oh, I remembered.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I'm not upset that it didn't blow my mind, but the higher functioning part of my brain is like, well, that was worth seeing. It was very interesting. Never quite seen anything like that before. Definitely some moments that worked. The moments that didn't are interesting in their own right. Yada, yada, yada. That's the attitude you want to have. But there's still that other part of my brain that was like... Or that, like, here's the album and compares it to the older albums. And, like, longs for the experience I hoped I would have when I bought the ticket. And that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
like, there's really no point in comparing it to something that doesn't exist. No point in comparing it to something that doesn't exist. And yeah, context is inescapable, but still, it would be more useful to me in every way if I could just receive this thing for what it is.
Well, that's being present in the moment.
Yeah.
Devoid of expectations or regret. And if you figure that one out, let me know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I guess it is just context.
I think so. So yeah, the best art then, by definition, is the stuff that makes it actively more difficult to think contextually by impairing your ability to think in the first place. And therefore, the best art appreciation is done while also drunk, high, or tired.
It also frequently occurs with no particular art in front of you. You just see the potential for a work of art in something, or have an idea that could become a work of art, and that's better than seeing any real works of art half the time.
Yeah, and to what you were saying about changing your perspective, that's what traveling is so good for. Like,
Right.
You are looking 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Because you want to.
It's all something to take in.
Notice everything. Exactly. So, act like you are in a new city every time you walk out of your house.
Act like you're in an art gallery during every second of your life. That's my advice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if you need to, hit yourself in the head really hard beforehand to enhance that experience, I don't see why you shouldn't.
Let's talk about the experience of playing video games while smoking weed. It's like they were made for each other.
Yeah, I drank my weed last night before bed, as I do, and I just decided I would go ahead and play some Dead Cells, and boy howdy, that kind of, B- 2D Souls-alike is a lot better when your brain is really interested in what things sound and feel like.
Yes.
All those little jingling noises, and it's a game with a lot of light bloom and sound effects.
Yeah.
And boy, just a lot of stuff to keep your brain happy when it is induced to be more receptive to such things.
Right. Like I'm gonna try to take pains here not to just be like explaining how cool it is when you're high and having a good time while you're high. But I think the lesson that we can learn from weed, like to wit on this conversation about art appreciation, is just hard focus. Like part of the thing weed does is make you harder to distract. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So I think that ideally the best way to appreciate art would be to have somebody wielding the art ambush you.
Oh.
And then to have them hold you there until you've appreciated it. We need an art goon squad, basically, to waylay people. In much the same way that I would like occasionally to waylay people with the Boston Crab, just to bring them into the moment.
An immersive experience of wrestling.
Exactly. You're going to pay way more attention to what's going on in the world around you if you're in the Boston Crab.
Or if you're in danger of being in the Boston Crab.
Yeah, it really... I think basically what we've come down to here is that in our abortive discussion of museums earlier, what we really miss is the ideal museum is one which features mortal peril.
Yeah.
Not that art is a puzzle to be solved, but stuff that like holds your attention to a given thing, like say plunge the entire environment into darkness except for the art that you're supposed to be looking at. That kind of thing.
Yeah. It's listening to
you should
music
only be you should
difficult.
appreciate one art at a time.
Yeah, if you can manage it, if you can manage that, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you got a gallery and everything hanging in one room bounces off each other and you can't help but kind of take them all in at once in a way. But if you can do it, just make yourself stare at a painting for longer than you think it's going to talk to you, and it'll just keep talking to you, whether you know it's happening or not.
Information density is a thing.
Yeah.
It's all there. The sort of the thing that you have to fight against is the need to experience everything.
Or to understand everything.
It turns out that you can do that, or you can convince yourself that you've done that by just having an inordinately shallow and shitty take on all of the things that you saw.
Right.
Art.
You have to be choosy.
Yeah. It's like your eyes will slide off of the old paintings and latch onto the new paintings. But that's not a bad thing. It's just that you have to be aware of that.
There is a very real physiological thing, though, which is that if you feel like you're beginning to... making some really great maneuvers here. If
that was pretty slick.
If you're beginning to feel like the museum is being lost on you... Oh, God, this sound outside. If you're beginning to feel like the museum is being lost on you and that you can't focus on a single thing that's happening there... If you feel like there's a motorcycle in your brain and you can't tune it out...
Trucks is being really fucking challenging today.
All you have to do...
Yes. What do we have to do, Josh? What do we have to do to get through this trucks?
All you have to do is go to the museum cafe and get some food in you, and then revisit the gallery. And
Ooh.
I swear, automatically, everything will be speaking to you again, at least a little bit. There's a real. It's like you can actually refuel physically for this kind of thing.
Once again, we come back to chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to make sure that you've eaten the right stuff before you go to the museum.
Yeah, you need to make sure that painting is going to have a nice conversation with the croissant you had moments ago.
True. And, you don't want to get over full.
Yeah,
because then you'll be paying too much attention to your
gastrointestinal distress.
Exactly. Yes. Which, unless it's Fountain by Marcel Duchamp, is not going to be particularly useful.
Yeah. I was gonna bring up that music. I think I've mentioned this difficulty on drugs before, and it's something that none of this has helped me reckon with is that I still find it difficult to just put music on and listen to it without some other thing to kind of occupy the rest of my brain, something to do with my hands or whatever.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen you like do that intentionally more than I think anybody else, because I've been sitting on the couch with you just listening to a record album.
Yeah, but half the time I'm doing that, I'm looking at my phone or something, you know?
Yeah, but not all the time. Like I've seen you really make an effort, and I think it's because you're conscious of this as a potential weakness. You know, and I don't think that music is necessarily harmed by having a physical component to it. No. Because music is incredibly tactile and physical, and so like you want to be moving your body the better to have the full experience.
Yeah, it's true. Sometimes it's very beneficial, but I can't shake the feeling that there's a different, if not better than different, more exclusively musical experience to be had by just zoning in on the sounds and trying to shut down all my other senses. And it's a riddle I'm still trying to solve.
Well, you can have Monica blindfold you and duct tape you to the couch.
Yeah.
And then you can play an assortment of tunes and see if that enhances the experience.
But maybe it's just a mislaid anxiety, because I was digging hard on all the paintings in the galleries, but at no point were my senses shut off to everything in the gallery around me. The feeling in my legs of having been standing around looking at paintings for too long, or the rooms that we have already passed through and the rooms that we still have to get to. It's all there all the time.
Strangely enough, this experience that you're chasing came up in a wrestling podcast that I was listening to earlier today.
Really?
Yeah. It was a man discussing the peak wrestling experience, which is you forget that it's an entertainment and you start thinking that it's a match, or you forget that it's you forget to think about the context of it, the storyline of it, and you just get into wanting to see what happens next.
Even though you're performing in it and you know all your spots.
No. This is an audience member.
Oh, okay.
The wrestling is the art in this case.
That's suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, and it's difficult to come by. It's like particularly difficult to come by if you are a person who is a big fan of the thing and thinks critically about the thing. As we've discussed, like there's the balance between knowing a lot and really wanting to be into it. But that just makes it all the more special. And the fact that this guy who thinks about wrestling a lot had this experience because he was just so utterly delighted by the fact that there exists a tag team whose gimmick is that they're masseurs. And that they pull this off so very well.
There are some who would tell you that suspension of disbelief is a necessary ingredient of any encounter with a fiction. But I think
that's not true, surely.
I agree, it's not true. I think there's always,
I mean, it's impossible
in the back of your mind, an awareness of the fact that you're engaging with a contrivance. But it is true that there's like, I guess the distinction to be made here is that like caring about what happens to the characters and being invested in the plot isn't the same thing as momentarily forgetting that it's fiction. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Absolutely. I mean, you can care about how it turns out for a wide variety of reasons. I mean, you can be rooting for the art to be good. That happens a lot to me. Is that I am invested in the movie turning out to be better than I think it should be,
right,
or I was expecting it to be. But yeah, no. I mean, you can't. Suspension of disbelief is such a profound. I don't know if this is true for everybody, but it's so profoundly to be appreciated that it should absolutely not be either considered a ground level prerequisite or taken for granted. Like when you really lose yourself in whatever the thing is, and it happens so rarely that it's great because again it is disruptive.
Yeah. You get it every night when you dream. You forget completely about who you are and where you are. and the fact that you're not really someone in charge of fucking chasing butterflies around a space station or whatever it is.
It's a shame that dreams usually aren't very good art.
Sometimes they are, but then like you forget
sometimes.
them. I can't remember it at all, but I know that I had a good dream last night. And I know that it was a good dream because it all came together in a single image.
And what was that image?
I can't remember.
Oh,
But
the
it's
very worst.
It's imprinted in me somewhere now, and I can
absolutely-
feel it in there. You know
I'm
that
absolutely
feeling?
certain. Yeah, no, I feel that. Maybe it'll be jogged loose by something else.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely certain that my dreams last night involved Team Fortress 2 in some respect.
Mine might have had something to do with
I'm
Dark
grateful
Souls.
that I'm grateful that I don't remember them.
There's something about encountering just a very pure moment of light and form.
Good. I like waking moments like that.
Yeah.
Where your brain, for whatever reason, like you're chasing down whatever avenue of free association you get, and in the end it rewards you with a arresting visual image, which you would not have come across had you not been sort of punted down this path. And then, you eventually, if you're me, if that image is sticky enough, you eventually have to make some sort of art out of it.
Yeah.
You have to write it down or else it won't leave you. Or you have to, depending on what kind of image it is, you have to like pursue whatever that is in your life until you've got it.
I've been spending a lot of time lately with just the ephemeral quality of it, like trying to unlearn that instinct to record it all the time. You know what I mean? Just kind of letting it be a thing that happens in my head. That's wonderful while it's happening.
The ideal outcome of this process being never producing anything else.
No, I mean, I'm hoping there's another thing on the other side of this where I do start, processing it into work again. But I think there's something to be said for it, is all I can offer.
I will admit that there's nothing to ruin an experience like continuously thinking this will make a good blog post while you're experiencing it.
Yes, and that's something I have with video games right now, is I'm addicted to the button that saves the footage of the last 15 minutes of whatever I was playing, because like everything happening on the screen is always so cool and will be lost forever if I don't hit the button. So hit the button.
Right, and then
but,
you'll never look at any of that.
If anything, weirdly, if anything, doing that is what has... Ooh, the sun. If anything, doing that is what has kind of made me realize that it might as well just be ephemeral, because I record it and then I don't do anything with it. And I'm like, oh, right, that value that I thought I had to do something with to save was actually just all in that moment. And it would behoove me to recognize that.
Years of my life where I took pictures of everything.
Right.
Like where I was actively looking at the world in terms of how things were framed, and now I don't. And there are pluses and minuses to that. I think that I maybe don't look at the world as actively if I'm not like searching for a good shot.
Absolutely.
And it does allow me to experience flow more when I'm around beautiful things without having to feel like I need to stop and document it.
I've always found the idea a little tedious that like if you're stopping and taking pictures all the time, then you're like dulling your experience of the world. I don't think
changing it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's true that you're dulling it. It's not that it doesn't have any negatives experiencing things that way, but I find that there are many very, very real ways in which you're sharpening your experience of the world by doing that. You're making yourself more alert.
Yeah, it's the pleasure of the artist versus the pleasure of the stoned person playing video games.
Right.
And those are both pleasures, and sometimes you need more of the one, and sometimes you need more of the other. I think
it's good to cultivate both.
Yep.
So you have a better sense of contrast.
I think you will starve yourself if you don't do both. I think that you need both.
Have you noticed that?
If you keep viewing the world as a curator and forget that it tastes good, you will end up being very sad indeed.
Have you noticed that dreams are a subject we return to on Trucks every so often?
Yeah, it's because it's like the rock bottom boring conversational topic.
No,
Unless
Isaac,
you're hoping
no.
to make more of a meal out of it.
It's because we're exploring aesthetics, and what is the greatest undiscovered country of aesthetics besides our dreams?
Yeah.
Other than, you know, all the new kinds of hot dog they're going to invent in the future.
Yeah. Augmented reality, 3D printed museums. Ooh, that guy has a power stance. You see that power stance? That guy appears to be guarding the shopping carts.
He's the one who set up this fucking trap for me.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, no, he's just sitting there laughing on the inside.
I just don't see. Let's see. Let's try.
There you
go. Let's just no, it's not. Oh wait, I can force it through. I can force it through.
Scrape yourself.
Will it count? Theoretically, this one looks easy.
It would be really funny if the game had no win state if you have more than one cab on you.
Yeah, it feels like you have to
was
straighten
a
them
bit
out
of an
to
oversight.
Oh, there we go. Easy peasy.
Nicely done.
That was just a luckily easy one. The last time I had with two trailers, you guys didn't get to see it, but that one wasn't going to happen, I don't think.
It was rough.
Well,
Josh,
thank you for indulging us on our formless trucks, where we talked about kind of some phenomenology, I suppose.
Yeah,
I think it was...
and I've been excited about drugs lately, so I talked about that some.
Yeah, man. Hey, it's good to be excited about drugs. It's hard to make it interesting for other people to listen to.
Well, we talked about
it's good to
immediacy, and we talked about... And that was what it ended up being about. It was about immediacy versus analysis, which is not a topic that we have not discussed on trucks before. But
please don't have the takeaway be Josh says it's good to be excited about drugs.
You can make that the takeaway for what I said if you want. Yeah, that was a trucks.
That was a trucks.
With any luck, there will be a trucks in June, which will be slightly more.
Isn't this the trucks in June?
Oh shit, you're right. It is. Maybe there'll be another trucks in June. Do you think we can do another trucks in June, Josh?
I think we'll find out.
Okay, let's see if that happens or not.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you for trucking. Goodbye. 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 That's fine. That'll do.